being made from polyethylene. So when we talk about nylon, we talk about plastics. The same materials that are found in plastics are also found in textiles.
Fabrics.
Yes,
Wow.
polyethylene fabrics. And these fabrics takes about 500 years to decay, to decompose. So it means 5 generations would have passed before a textile made from polyethylene decays.
Okay, this could also mean that there could be still particles of Jesus'
Clothing
in the world.
Obviously.
Wow.
But then one thing we should know that in the early times, fabrics were made from cotton.
Okay.
Pure cotton.
Yeah.
Pure silk. Pure materials that are decomposable until they had like the invent of fast fashion. Fast fashion came in and then clothing are now being made from polyethylene. And so once they are made from polyethylene, fast fashion is just, let's just make this cloth quickly with less production.
And they are cheaper.
Yeah, they're actually cheaper than buying, pure cotton.
Yeah.
And so they come in to actually affect the environment. And it will shock you that for every denim trouser that is being made, for every jean trouser that is being made, over 10,000 liters of water is being used.
Wow.
And so as population begin to increase, our population has increased with about
materials are
being recycled.
That means we have 98
out there,
yeah,
still on the landfills, still on our waters, killing life, killing the fishes, killing, diversity. So most of them, if you go to, places that are quite known, you go to Lagos for instance, you get to markets where they produce, clothing, fashion industries, fashion houses. They just dump it. It's just everywhere on the landfills, spilling everywhere, causing environmental pollution, causing environmental degradation. And so that is why we need to come and say, okay, yes, let's see the solution. Let's not only talk. Let's not only say, oh, the government are not doing enough. To some extent, the population is too much for the government to also handle. So we can do our best to ensure that we choose our fabrics wisely. We use our textiles. You do not need to throw a cloth or go up on the
I was just about asking, when you talk about reusing, women were very fashion.
Yes, we don't have a cloth every time. We always have a
companies, the textile companies. Let's come back home. For instance, I have buildings that I no longer have any of. You too, just every other woman out there. How can we recycle? What do you think we can do?
Okay,
so actually, if these things are not made with cotton that can be composed, the ones that are made from polyethylene, yeah. So how do we about recycling?
Okay, so I would say that not everybody you understand the processes of recycling.
If you get the lesson. So instead of running your clothing, instead of just dumping them, you can give it out and in exchange for your blessing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about the recycling itself. What does it and let's talk about the
so in the food scale,
okay. In the food scale, and okay, let me start with food scale and then tell us maybe in our various homes how we can do with them, yes, instead of throwing them away.
Okay, so textile recycling is basically just recycling of textiles, making sure that you increase the life shelf of that cloth that is supposed to, be on the landfills. So taking those old clothing and making beautiful things from them. And I can tell you for a fact that the textile recycling industry is underserved. It's underserved because we have less recycler in the textile. Think about it. Try to think. We have more plastic. We have more aluminium, recyclers than textile recycling in its full sense. And so textile recycling is just, it composes of a what I do basically is after collecting these textile waste and shredding them, I weave them using the manual Ashoke weaving technique. So I weave them and then I use them to now make clothing, bag, whatever I want to make. I use that process to recycle. But there are people who just do, simple DIY. So there was a trend that came out at a particular time and it was easy. People started using chain trousers as their skirts. Yeah. As simple as that. Rather than train that trouser, tear it from the center, put the design, and convert it to a skirt. Yeah. A lot of people started doing like tote bags from jeans, you understand? And then there was this, fashion design that came out where they called it rag jean. Okay. Rag jean. Yeah. And what is rag jean? Different jeans they don't need to sew together. They cut them into different pieces to make something beautiful. Fashion is crazy. So, as fashion no restriction, just make sure that at the end of the day you are looking beautiful and you are telling a story. So beyond that, textile recycling is telling a story. It is telling a story of that textile that should have been there, that should have been lying somewhere, and then this is what causing havoc. Thank you. And this is what we can now make from this textile. So basically textile recycling. Alright, thank you. Now that I've talked about all the things we can make from waste, textile waste by recycling them, how can textile recycling initiatives empower women in local communities? Yeah. Okay. So the major people who are hit the hardest by the impact of the fashion industry climate actions are people in local communities. Wow. Do you understand? Because they use less, but that woman who is on the street is not buying clothes as much as somebody who is living in the city. But when the adverse effect of climate comes, the person on that street is hit the hardest because the person might not be able to afford. People on the street, the people in the local communities, obviously have the skills to create things that are beautiful for. So, for instance, this sharing that I'm currently wearing is made by Africa Up. Okay, and what do? They teach people in the local, unsafe communities how to recycle textile waste, how to make bangles, make arts and crafts, make materials, use fashion materials.